Judge, how does this work? What's the complaint? Do they have a legitimate complaint?
It's actually more than a complaint. I mean, it forms in part the indictment against former New York State Speaker of the Assembly, Sheldon Silver, who's no longer the Speaker, but still is a representative in the Assembly. Former Speaker Silver was and may still be affiliated with a very large plaintiffs' law firm that specializes in representing.
I think he's been put on leave, as they say. I think they try to distance themselves.
One can understand that in light of these allegations. And the allegations are that he used his influence in the government to get his law firm's cases heard first before judges likely to be predisposed to rule in the favor of the plaintiffs. And as a result, he enriched himself. It's an interesting
bribery. He got a kickback, like a referral fee.
Well, that's why it's an interesting bribery argument. I mean, lawyers may be paid referral fees as long as they reveal that to the client that they're going to be paid a referral fee, and as long as they genuinely bring the business to the firm. And he was an employee of the firm whose job it was to generate business. But in this angle, the government says he used his position in the government to get the business for his firm at the head of the line and before judges that he himself had gotten the judgeships for. So the implication is, and the allegation is, that this was a subtle, sophisticated form of bribery. So
it's not unusual, though, is it, for lawmakers to be associated with law firms? Is that illegal by itself?
No, that's not illegal by itself. But what is profoundly illegal is for lawmakers to do anything official in the government in return for an increase in their personal wealth. No matter how that wealth is received and no matter how circuitous may be the route through which that cash travels. And this was a very, very circuitous route that the government alleges against Silver. Now,
Judge, this isn't
hang on.
Yeah, sorry.
The former speaker is innocent until proven guilty. He has proven not guilty. He has pleaded not guilty. He has a substantial defense, he says, and the case will be tried next year.
Judge, this is an asbestos tort racket, right? I mean, mesothelioma cases, and we've seen the commercials for years now. I mean, they date back for decades, and there's an estimated $30 billion honeypot set aside by companies to deal with their allegations, charges against them. Is there, for asbestos and cancer-related diseases, do you think there will be any reform of the New York system here given in light of the corruption with Sheldon Silver and the allegations there?
I don't know the answer to that, but to give you even more sleepless nights, the courts have pretty much abandoned the concept of a statute of limitations on these mesothelioma cases. So a person exposed in 1956 who died of mesothelioma 10 years ago, whose family just learned about the exposure and the cause of death, can bring the lawsuit now. I'm just making up these dates to show you the ease with which in New Jersey and in our neighboring state of New York, the laws have been twisted and turned to help the plaintiffs. Some of these plaintiffs are seriously injured people. Some of them actually died from this. But all of them are being given a very, very easy shake by the system to allow these late filed claims to be processed.
I want to change subjects a bit. I want to get your take on Jon Corzine. He is considering launching a hedge fund. Is he allowed to do this? Because Corzine, behind MF Global, that went bankrupt in 2011, he was charged by the CFTC. Now he wants to start a new hedge fund.
You know, lawfully he's allowed to do this, but Ashley, Elizabeth, do either of you know anybody that would give Jon Corzine so much as $1 to invest in their behalf in light of the loss for MF Global, the inability to pay those losses back, the lack of explanation for them, the lack of investigation by the government? About the only thing good that he has is he is Teflon. He just keeps falling down and coming back up, but he's losing other people's money as well as his own.
The MF Global case was so serious, $1.6 billion in client money gone missing, and allegations that the firm had commingled client funds with operating cash. So that was a real serious lack of oversight and problems with Jon Corzine's running of that firm.
To tie this back into the first part of our conversation, if lawyers commingle client funds with operating cash, even if there's no loss, disbarred.
Done.
Disbarred immediately.
Gone. Can't practice law anymore. Here's Jon Corzine, the former New Jersey governor, the former New Jersey senator, the billionaire, apparently back on his feet again, asking for money.
Teflon John instead of Teflon Don. So, but he can legally do this. He has the license to do it.
Yes, he can. His license was not impaired. There wasn't even, as far as I know, a lot of these investigations are secret. Some of the... There wasn't even an FBI investigation of where did the $1.2 billion that Emacs spoke about, where did it go?
Yeah, they had to do a lot of asset sales to return the money, but, he faces lawsuits still. So you're right to ask who is going to invest money with Jon Corzine.
Yes.